We have number 9, division of a decimal by a power of 10. So first of all, well, here's what we have to realize. What in the world is a power of 10? Well, power of 10 is basically 1 or 1 with zeros behind it. So as you can see here, I've listed the first 4 powers of 10. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion, so on and so forth. So powers of 10 are 1 with no zeros or any number of zeros. So let's look at the steps. We're going to rewrite the digits of the dividend. Okay, so I'm rewriting the digits of my dividend. Okay, so here are the digits of my dividend. Okay, so 438. Okay. Then so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this down all the way, since it's all the same. Okay. Then it asks me to highlight or underline the zeros in the divisor. Okay, so how many zeros do I have in my divisor? Well, I don't have any, so there's nothing to highlight. Okay. There's nothing to highlight. Okay, so then I'm going to move the decimal point to the left as many zeros as in the divisor. So how many zeros are there? Well, there are no zeros. So that means I don't move the decimal point. It stays right there. Okay. How many zeros? So if I'm looking at this problem, how many zeros are there? There's 1. So how many times do I move the decimal point? I move it once. Now this is the division, so the number's getting smaller. So I need to move it to the left. So here's where it was. I'm going to move it once to the left. And there's my decimal point. Okay. Again, I have to highlight the zeros. There's 2 zeros here. Okay. So now I need to move the decimal point. How many times? 1, 2. So 1, 2. And then I put my decimal point. Now, I can put a 0 in front of there if you want. I can put a 0 in front of there if you want. That's up to you. It's personal preference. I know I'm not a big fan of the zeros there. Why? Because it wastes time and energy. Time you could be spending doing other things. I know it takes so long, but after so many zeros you put in there, that does take up about a second or two. Again, I highlight 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I go back to where I originally was, and I move it 3 times. So once, twice, 3 times. And I put my decimal point there. So you'll notice, hopefully you notice a pattern here. So I'm going to line these up so they're all, so I'm going to line these up so all of the 8s are lined up. So I have 4 and 38 hundredths, 438 thousandths, 438 ten thousandths, 438 hundred thousandths. So the 0, however many zeros I see in my divisor tells me how many times I move it over. And as you can see, I'm coming back and I'm making my hoops here, my loops, my loop-de-loops. Okay, just so we can get a better idea. Okay, so I want you to give the video a pause, and then I want you to try this side over here. Okay, give it a try. So again, I lined up all the 1s along this line, and you can see the pattern. It's 52 and 1/10, 5 and 21 hundredths, 521 thousandths, and 521 ten thousandths. So if I add a 0, I just move it to the place side to the left. Let's try some more. So go ahead and give the video a pause. I want you to try all 8 of these. Then unpause it. We'll see how you did. Make sure you use your steps to success over here. Make sure you use your highlighter. Make sure you use your pencil to underline the zeros. So here are my answers. Okay. So we'll go over these bit by bit. We'll draw some hoops so it's easier for you to see. So no zeros, don't move the decimal point. 1 0, I'm going to move it once. 2 zeros, I'm going to move it twice. 3 zeros, I'm going to move it 3 times. Now this one is a little bit tricky. A little bit tricky. No zeros, don't move it. But Mr. Square, I don't see a decimal point. Where in the world is it? Remember, if you don't see a decimal point, it's always to the right of the ones place. That is the sole purpose of the ones place, to tell us where the decimal point is. It's always to the right. No zeros, no moving. 1 0, so I move it once. 2 zeros, move it twice. 3 zeros, I move it 3 times. And that concludes division of a decimal by power of 10. That's all. Thank you.